said EV redemption that can rescue Delhi from this foul air. What needs to be done, sir, and what is not being done?
If you look at the Delhi whole ecosystem, I don't think it's a demand problem. It's really a confidence and a convenience problem as far as Delhi is concerned. So if you look at it, the first thing, and you mentioned also briefly referred to it, but not directly, there's policy uncertainty. There was an incentive announced, it was revised, it was paused, it was extended. Just yesterday, I think in the papers, there was an announcement that the EV policy will be announced soon. So buyers delay decisions, in absence of multi-year certainty. Second, Delhi is a apartment centric kind of a city, and apartment dwellers and renters lack guaranteed home charging. Home charging needs to be solved. Primarily, it's an issue between the resident welfare associations and the discoms. If we look at it, and if there's no guarantee of that, then there's a challenge. Of course, the three other things which are kind of a legacy of the past. One is the upfront cost and ownership issues. They're still more expensive. The trust deficits, which is still continuing there. And I think more importantly in Delhi, there's no push factor. There's no parking access, preferential parking access, no other real incentive or advantage for EVs, and ICE vehicles still face no meaningful inconvenience as far as Delhi is concerned. So I think while buyers may want EVs in Delhi, they hesitate to commit at this point of time. And of course, you know, uh, Delhi led by example, Supreme Court example by moving the entire fleet to CNG. Now that's also a challenge because the Delhi government has got a joint venture for providing CNG, and if you then mandate a conversion into EVs, what happens to that investment? What happens to all the employment created around there? That's also another challenge.
Okay. Mr. Damani, are we a conservative market? I remember as a child in 1980s when the Maruti came, though I was fascinated by it. I used to live in Green Park. A lot of people would say, I don't take Maruti, kahan service karaoge? Because, I neatly come from Nittle place in Agra. You can take Padmini and or buy Ambassador. Kahin bhi kharab ho jayegi, you have people to take care of it. Do you think that we also have a sort of a conservative car market?
I don't think, before coming to your answering your question, thank you and good evening to all your viewers. I have a different take on this.
Okay.
What India was in the 80s and 90s, India has completely, transformed now in terms of the auto buying experience which a customer gets. So customers today need all the best of the best specifications which are available in the market. And also, this show is on the EV subject. So I have a different take on how the India or how the Delhi's EV market is shaping up if I do a comparative to an all India basis. It is making a meaningful contribution in terms of reducing the pollution. This is about the EV, but it is far from sufficient on its own to solve Delhi's severe air quality crisis. If you see Jan to November 25, I did because FADA releases the Vahan retail registration figures. I was doing some calculation. Jan to November 25 data, if we combine both two-wheelers as well as the passenger vehicle, EV sales grew by around 31% YOY in Delhi, whereas in national, all India, the growth was around 15%. So Delhi is doubling the number of EV sales compared to all India growth as of now. Especially if we talk about the two-wheeler EV penetration, which is kind of stable at 7%, whereas the national average is 6%. But if we look at the four-wheelers market, the EV penetration has jumped to 8% in Delhi, and all India is at 4%, which clearly shows that people having better disposable income, and Delhi being one of the best disposable income state city, where passenger vehicle is doing much better compared to a two-wheeler. And hence we are seeing enough numbers of electric vehicles being sold in the Delhi market compared to all India. And the numbers, which is a growth of market share of 8% in Delhi versus 4% in all India, clearly talks about the kind of run rate which the EVs are having in the state city of Delhi.
Okay. This entire conversation is EV plus pollution. You see, EV is one part of it, but number of editorials have been written. Mr. Kapoor, a lot of editorials have come out that unless and until we switch from carbon-based transport to a EV or a hybrid or a CNG, which not only includes private vehicles, sir, or a private motorcycle or a scooter, but a rapid transport system is also around it, like, for example, electric buses. The Delhi will never have clean air. Your opening comments, sir.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the push should be that all commercial vehicles should turn to electric vehicles as soon as possible, because they are the ones that are there on the road for most of the time. Private vehicles will be used maybe twice in a day to go somewhere and then to come back in the evening.
Absolutely.
But all commercial vehicles, all taxis, and if you will see the number of taxis that are currently operating on the road, if you do a cross section of the number of cabs that go through, let's say, Ames Crossing, you will figure that almost like 30-40% of the vehicles on the road are your hail cabs. So if those and other commercial vehicles turn to EVs, we should see a sizable reduction in pollution.
Now, let me straight away go to Mr. Chenoy. So, Mr. Chenoy, is it a problem of infrastructure or a mindset? And how do you push people to buy EV so that they understand it's not just about technology and fuel efficiency, it's also about lungs. Delhi is breathing poison, and December has been the worst month in last 9 years. Worst. AQI spike between 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. every day in morning has been above 400, and it's not a joke.
Yeah, I think you're right that we need to find a solution for the AQI and the whole pollution issue in Delhi. And it's been something that we've been actually working from the 1990s and 2000s and all. And it's a process we need to actually accelerate going forward. But to your specific question, right? Okay, and if Sarash actually quoted data, but what the overall annual figures hide is that in the last few months, when the subsidies for the cars in Delhi were reduced, actually sales fell. From about 19.5% of market share of sales, they fell to less than 5%. So I think the EV policy and the subsidy policy in Delhi did have an effect going there. The specific question that you asked was relating to range anxiety and looking at a single car owner going in for an EV. I think, if you look at what is happening now, and I think with Maruti coming in very, shortly with their EV and their stated goal to do, 10,000 chargers, across the country over a period of time, right? You will see, and that's actually hitting at one of the concerns that a first-time buyer has. And you said, if I go to Nainital, will I be able to find a charging point online? So 2 or 3 things are happening. There are companies who are actually fixing charging stations for cars on the highways, right? For commercial vehicles, for buses and trucks, the government e-drive policy is actually facilitating that. But I'm going back to your car, single car, and companies also are giving you extended range now. 340, 400. Which is actually enough to do a kind of a one-way journey to most of the destinations that you talked about. And you're having apps now talking about finding the charger close by, and also there are chargers which you can actually, portable chargers which you can actually carry. But however, this range anxiety has not been addressed very squarely.
Yes.
By huge promotion by the manufacturers and governments, and saying that. You referred to the 80s, right? When Maruti came in.
Yes.
Even one of the most telling ads of Maruti today is that person going to Ladakh and actually finding a Maruti service station there.
Yes.
That's a very popular, you'll still see it being run on commercials.
Yes.
So I think the industry needs to come together and everybody wants to, and really address the range anxiety, the quality anxiety, and also the resale value of a car, which is again very important for a first-time automotive buyer. And these are issues that need to be addressed.